Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever, whenever that you may be tuning in. This is Yonks, and this is now day 26 of our 180-day live stream marathon here, sprint, all of that jazz. And we're in the Google Docs. This is a pretty tab-heavy Google Docs. And right now we're going to be bouncing between, this is our 17th office hours here for myIRA.Fund. And we're also going to be taking a look at the Teams brand for myIRA.Fund as well. So our office hours here, this is a templated Google Docs. Always talk about our FELG, culture, fun, learning, and giving. And as you can see here, don't really have any agenda. And that's really because geared for just, provide this window to make sure that any questions are asked or concerns or, and we'll be definitely keeping an eye on the live stream. So if anybody is watching one of the live streams, feel free to chime in some thoughts there. But on that note, I'm going to stop talking for a minute and see if anybody wants to chime in some thoughts here for office hours.
Jason, Super Bowl is 4:30.
4:30. I was right on the money. I will thank my wife for having that on the calendar because I'm fairly certain that I didn't put it on the calendar. So yeah, I'll take a look at the calendar. The goal is to set up. We've got one final thing that we need to do for myIRA.Fund, the founding member NFT. And we're really wanting this to be a work in progress. And one of the things that we're wanting to fulfill an ethos of is that we're really wanting these cooperative members. We're structuring this as a Colorado public benefit corporation. We're planning to seek pending B Corp status, and that's one of the things that we've got on our radar here. Let me see where it's at. Oh, right here, pending B Corp after ETH Denver 2025. So, and then the LCA for our organization is a limited cooperative association. So we are looking here during our launch phases to onboard the 100 first members into our cooperative organization here. And we're really looking to create an AI agency utilizing the next generation technology, the next evolution of AI. Third level of AI evolution of 7 levels. Not going to unpack that, but the chatbots and whatnot are largely level 2 AI. So that's one of the things that we're working forward to deploying. And one of the things that's really exciting is that we're positioning myIRA.Fund as your on-chain IRA solution. And we're really looking to leverage composable technology to be able to deliver this for you as efficiently as possible. So anyway, I'm going to take a look at the calendar here for Super Bowl Sunday, and then work on getting a live stream scheduled, and then have a party the rest of the evening, and then we will be back to really kick off on Monday, February the 10th. And one of the things that want to do is to be more inclusive of our international friends. And real quick, I'm going to just go in a new tab here. We're at AI Agents, and they finally got the .box to properly redirect here with the security cert and all of that good stuff. So this is our link tree. Let me refresh this here real quick. So destroy the box with AI agents, on-chain community for AI. So this is what I was wanting to show, and this is the same thing that you will, or a similar thing, not quite the same thing, because this is a myIRA.Fund office hours. And here, when you go to the events, it will actually filter on the tag myIRA.Fund. And I might not have even got the tag. See right here, I don't think I got the tag on this one because it didn't get this event filtered. But anyway, what I was talking about here for this next week, and let me actually bring open the Google Calendar So right now the prevailing thought is to do a 1 p.m. Eastern time, 11 a.m. Mountain to accommodate our international friends. So this is what the calendar has looked like here this week. And this is what we're talking about here this next week. So talking about the 11 to, and we're going to do a hold AM office hours for AiAgents.Box. And I'm going to actually make this myIRA.Fund because the priority is to get myIRA.Fund launched. And this is a myIRA.Fund office hours here today. So how
Oh,
is
on
everybody?
Sunday?
What's that?
That's on Sunday.
No, this is Monday. I prefer a Monday to a Sunday week time. So this is going to be, and let's just let me set this to repeat. Let's see, custom. We're going to do repeat on the weekdays for, let's see, what week are we on right now? We are on week 4 of 25. So let's make this repeat. So we're going to be, this is like, let's just say 20 weeks. 20 weeks. And this is just the one of the workflows here, just to like open up the kitchen, show you where we make all the sausage. So one of the tools that we use is Fathom, and this is the account that has the Fathom video for 3Win Social ecosystem here. I think this is yeah, so every 20 weeks on weekdays, save, and then the goal is to get this on the Luma calendar. And one of the things that it may make sense, and I'll let you experiment here this next week, Ernest. We've been having some side conversations so that Ernest can run things while I'm enjoying the family vacation, and that's actually a good segue into the test here. So do you want to talk about the test that you've got planned coming up here, Ernest, real quick?
Oh no, I'm just testing the Google Doc and the Google tools and the event scheduling and the stream all in one. So um, I generate notes for the event in Google um, through the Google Calendar. Uh, in those notes, I can take and generate tasks from the meeting. And then since it's all in a Google Doc, um, and I'm copying the agendas, not the whole document. It's a lot less copying and pasting than your process. um, and yeah, ultimately, Google Docs are easy to manage for agents. So doing the scraping, if I just generate the notes through the actual meeting event itself, then it's much easier to do the scraping and generating of content. Um, I just want to make sure that the Google Calendar event is easier than Luma, honestly, and helps people get their notifications. Um, but once it's all set up in Google Docs, Google Calendar, like you already do, um, if you want to duplicate things by moving stuff into Luma or whatever, then that's completely possible, especially the way you're using Zoom. But that's a whole, I think you can even use Zoom in your Google events too.
Yeah, there's just other value propositions. Like I actually get SMS notification with Luma. So
I get
and
it
I
with
think,
Google. You get it with Google. You get email, SMS.
well, there's other value propositions too. There's an increasing community on Luma, and like one of the things that our events are getting tagged on already is the AI. So there's additional discoverability with Luma
It's just the
like
extra
right.
maintenance step that is added to your backlog. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I absolutely understand. It's a workflow, and this is something too that really wanting to get the workflow automated. And but that's because there will likely be additional opportunity here in around as we continue to build towards, because the goal is to build towards having a mobile app or apps for ecosystem brands, and especially surrounding myIRA.Fund. We're definitely working towards having our mobile app over here, myIRA.Fund mobile app for our launch phase. So, and that workflow will look very different surrounding conversations for myIRA.Fund, and who knows what those like right now we're having conversations to launch, and like when we get launched we might not have that many conversations like what we're having now around myIRA.Fund. um but only time will tell. But yeah, so anyway, getting back to the looking through some of the things that we need to do to move the needle forward here. So let's see, create an additional value. That's one of the things that's still exploring. And then going down to our deliverables. So I've got highlighted here, there's some backstory conversations happening. One of the things on the KYC is planning to do, and let me take off this formatting here. Formatting, apply. So, and did this planning to have a custom URL as an interim solution, and this will be, I think, at synapse.io / like myIRA.Fund or something like that. This won't work right now. Not working yet. Not working yet. Not finalized yet. But that's the plan right now, is to do a KYC using this solution, and then as we work towards phase 2 over here, we would really like to move the KYC functionality to the IRA agency, and that may create a scenario where we as an organization don't have to collect any information, because like one of the things that we talked about yesterday was, I remember Airtable coming up, and right now we've got our deform myIRA.Fund founding member. And this is something that, and still want to improve the text here, but this is something that we created yesterday. So anyway, getting back to our list of things down here. So the initial founding member agreement. So this is something that wanting to use in ETH sign, and I think that there's an opportunity. That's the initial plan. This is also something that we could potentially build into our AI agents, as far as what that process looks like using signed protocol. Because again, the goal is to move all of the stuff over to the agency, where we as an organization are basically deploying a Docker container within some cloud infrastructure, whether that's Fleek or AWS or like
You mean you're
Versal.
not going to be collecting any information through Zapier?
We likely will be doing Zapier is basically like kind of a bridging tool to bridge data from one source over to another source, like Zoom. um we were just talking about Luma. My Zoom account is linked to Luma, and then with Zoom that provides like attendance details for our conversations of Zoom, and that's another value proposition too. Just like Luma, as far as the insights that you get, it's a pretty fabulous backend. But the yeah, so the goal again over here, and this is something that we will likely need to engage a compliance expert surrounding, because this is a IRS vehicle here, this individual retirement arrangement. But the goal is if we can not collect any personally identifying information over when we're launching our normal offering, that would put us in a unique space, like literally maybe being the only privacy IRA situation that's available at all. And the more that we can differentiate what we're offering from existing solutions, the easier it will be to onboard, users, and then just continue to deliver a fabulous experience. And then the TVL will continue to grow over time. So anyway, let's see. So sign, yeah. Another thing wanting to have some considerations around is with push.org. And I actually think that uh and one of the other things too that it'll be interesting to see, because we created the community for AI agents over at app.commonground. And this is one of the things that I'm not sure what it'll look like for like community around myIRA.Fund. Because and that I'm not sure. I'm, do you have any thoughts? I would probably just be speculating, quite honestly, if we need to have any sort of community presence for myIRA.Fund.
The maintenance task.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's work surrounding communities for sure. But anyway,
Well, you need a way to communicate amongst members.
in what capacity?
Well, that's what you have to define. But I mean, you need an internal group communication tool so that you're not just leaving people out in the dark with some app, right?
Well, so there, and
And you can
here's
have it in your app.
here's one of the thoughts too, and I'm glad that we're having this conversation right now, because one of the use cases for myIRA.Fund, and this isn't like necessarily on this launch phase here. I would say this might be like a phase 2.5 or something, but like we're looking to do these hyper local investment clubs, and the opportunity to have like a myIRA Lite or something like that for an investment club. Because you think about there's a big difference for somebody that's got a 5,000 or that's just starting their IRA versus somebody that's looking to move a chunk of money over to their IRA. So like here, we're largely during these first two phases, you and like this first phase, we're really creating this as more of a lifetime giveaway to onboard these first 100 members. But over here in the beta phase, this will likely be people that are bringing a chunk of money over. I mean, like a chunk, and it and what we need to also be thinking about is to create a solution for, like I said, a scaled down version for our investment club members. But that's more of a phase like 2.5. I'm just thinking out loud here, because one of that could be strategic for onboarding more people through that investment club model, and really wanting to create a model. And maybe we should plan to include that, have two things that we're including during the launch phase here, like the IRA agency, and then maybe like for investment clubs, make it like a myIRA.Fund light or something where investment club members can start accumulating capital, because there's a big difference if you're just getting started with an account to pay $200 a year versus, you've got, tens of thousands or maybe six figures. Because like right now, the average IRA balance is 194,000. Not expecting people to move their entire balances over to a new offering, but my belief is that when we create a great experience, the TVL will continue to go up. Any thoughts on that? And I'm going to add that as a bullet point under here. Create a myIRA light for investment clubs. That is a lower yearly cost than 197. So discussed, and I'll put a comment over here. Discussed briefly during IRA office hours, number 17. Comments. And on the account abstraction, I don't know if we really need to have the account abstraction in place until we're really doing the looking to go into the beta phase over here, or potentially even the launch phase, because still planning to largely utilize the safe. And I'm not sure how much, if we will be doing modifications to that, but that's something that will likely be occurring here between the beta and the launch phase as well. Right. So going back to the business plan, this is another document that we will likely be creating a rewards for. I'm going to create a proposal on, and I still have the action item to nominate you, Ernest, and I Am Lotus as board of stewards for myIRA.Fund and throughout our ecosystem where that's not the case. We are reviewing this right now, and this is something that we will be publishing here shortly. The goal is to really have this agreement templated, because what we're looking to do with myIRA.Fund is to basically largely copy the model in these other professional niches over here. So going back to the business plan, did anybody want to chime in some additional thoughts on the business plan since we had this conversation yesterday?
I mean, we should figure out a time to just go through it and create the text for the business model and the business plan.
Is that something that you want to steward next week, Ernest?
No, because it's all in your brain.
Well, it's
That's what I'm saying, and it needs to be a group collaboration to fill out the document.
Here's my thoughts on business plans. Is like a lot of this stuff, like some of this financial modeling and stuff is just kind of made up numbers, and
well, it's the point. You can have a choice as somebody planning your plan. You can make up numbers, or you can, hash all this stuff out. Because if you don't have this stuff hashed out, you can't answer people's questions about it very well.
Well, and
right?
here's again, this was something that I tried to communicate.
This is all common stuff that people are going to ask in the onboarding process. And yes, we're at different phases, and it's going to change throughout the phases. But
well, and that's
these are all
actually
common
what
questions.
that's actually what I'm advocating, because I don't know what like the cost of our cloud infrastructure is going to be, because like this is something that we
I mean, it's gonna be anywhere depending on how you start from a couple hundred to 500 to $2,000 to manage a small agency.
Have you all decided what cloud to use? Because AWS, I think, has a grant
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. And the main thing is when you don't have numbers, you identify what numbers you don't have so that other people can figure out what those numbers are. And
right,
find
but like
grants,
there's
like Lotus is saying, to maybe fill in those numbers.
so like going back to like even the cloud infrastructure here, that's not even something that we need in these first to deliver the service in these first two offerings. So
Correct.
that's the dynamic here, because like I mean, and we could
But
potentially even
you
push
only
out
lay
the
out the information for the phase that you're in because you should understand the phase that you're in and then be, planning the next phase. So each phase has its own model that changes through the three phases and then gives you your final, culmination of the plan at the end of that.
right, and that's what I'm saying, because there's a big difference of creating a business plan, talking about the alpha phase here, where we don't have to deliver any agent functionality, because that's something that we're putting on the roadmap for phase two over here, and that's if the founding members collectively agree, because this could be like get pushed out further out, because the reality is that what we're looking to offer here using composable on-chain technology is so much better than other solutions for Web3 natives than what exists from just a cost standpoint. Even this here without the myIRA agency is way better than all of the other offerings that exist today in that I can find. So that's like what but
Yeah, all
yeah
I'm saying is, you can either pay somebody to develop and take the time to develop this, or you can schedule a time as a group to collaborate on it.
well, and I think that that's something that because I yeah, I'm not going to be working on it next week, because like when you said that the stuff is in my brain, I assure you that like revenue growth projections and cost structure, profit margins, and a lot of the stuff in this like that is been identified for like a revenue model overview isn't stuff that I've thought about or in my brain. So
Oh, you have.
We
It's
need.
called capture 1% of the market.
I think we need more revenue model than just membership. That's just
um, why do you think that wouldn't be enough? I mean, because all of the other IRA solutions have a similar model.
Yeah, but we're
I don't know.
a
Aren't we
startup.
offering this to other like Web2 TradFi that they
No,
can?
that's kind of what the point of this conversation is. We're not doing that for the first two phases, the alpha phase or the beta phase. We're only targeting Web3 natives for these first two phases. So I think that the simpler that we can create a business plan and then iterate that business plan as we have more details and understanding of what, like, because at the end of the day, like the agents is as like, next gen compared to what everybody else is doing. And this is where we start adding a lot of costs for potentially for infrastructure. Because like we can deliver these first two phases almost like with almost no cost from a technology solution standpoint. Now, like we're definitely going to be doing a KYC solution over here, and there's some costs surrounding that, but that's like not a high cost thing, and that's something that not expecting that to be a high cost component of doing business is KYC maintenance with these first two phases.
Yeah, but
And
any content workflows that you want in these phases is a cost or an
sure,
expense.
that's something that we can decide on what that would look like as far as like an operating cost, and like we're also having our two-tier affiliate program, but this is where I think that just agreeing to focus on a business plan surrounding doing an MVP for the alpha phase, because like talking about customer acquisition and retention and very different price dynamics for our phases of launch phases as well. But I would love to hear some ideas, because like the market analysis that I've been doing, Lotus, most of the other players in the space have there. It's a pretty simple model, and I mean, like let me actually go to that here real quick. Is the tab on the crypto IRA market analysis, and I'll actually just open this in an incognito window and make it a little better, because one of the fields that I have in here is the fees. So like I Trust Capital, they have over 200,000 customers. Let me just open up their page in another tab here.
Yeah,
So,
they also got the lowest fees.
well, no, they don't, because here they have a 1% transaction. That's the same fee structure that we have at Alto IRA, where we've spent over $7,000 in fees.
Yeah, but compared to three other
So it
compared
just depends on how you
it's
look at the
cheaper.
fees. Because
Well, yeah.
here,
Well, I'm not
like,
saying 1% is not high. I'm just saying that the Bitcoin IRA has a 5% fee. Bit IRA has high setup costs, and Equity Trust has variable fees.
yeah,
So,
so I mean, like I don't think that we're using because like here Rocket Dollar is probably more similar, and going here to pricing for Rocket Dollar. So these have a $30 a month, which comes out to $360 a year, and then it also has here $360 one-time setup fee or $600 one-time setup fee. And then like for self-employed people that have a solo 401k, similar cost there. So they normally have two different pricing structures. Either you're getting popped on the transaction fees, or there's a monthly fee and a setup fee. That's really the two business models that I've seen.
yeah.
Not too much variation from that.
Yeah, and having all that kind of documented and uh mentioned and explained in the business summary would be super helpful. Because if you
Yeah,
know
no,
that your main competition is like, well, with Coinbase, it's 1% fee. So you have trading fees and then you have setup fees. And so looking at the costs and figuring out what your competitor costs are, can kind of give you an idea for, where to improve on that cost basis. And then, you can actually figure out, well, can you actually plan and design and implement the project based on, that competitive.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
to be completely honest, the AI agents is just like amplifying, the dynamic of us creating a network effect and putting that on the roadmap is something that we can work towards. It's definitely not something that we have to have available today or, and that's where the better that we manage expectations, but that's something that you know anyway, here's like, the and one of the things that I'm planning to do when we get back from our vacation is go through the onboarding process with at least these organizations to see what that looks like and capture that and document that from our perspective to onboard. Because the better that we can create an onboarding experience and then really create using on-chain technology to lower our cost, setup fees, and all of that. One thing that we haven't talked about yet that I want us to look at, because this may be a solution to also minimize some of our development cycles, is, and I can't remember, have we talked about Odoko before? And I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly or not.
Nope.
Okay, well, good. So this is on-chain companies for Web3 builders. And like one of the things that they have here, because like one of the other solutions, and I'm not going to go back to the market analysis, but like the opportunity for us to potentially use this to assist in the process. And I'm not sure if they have a white labeling capability. If we wanted to or not, but like here, a Wyoming Series LLC, you think about like adding this into a cost, and then of course I would expect it to be lower cost through like a white labeled solution than what they're doing here. But and whether this is even something that we would use or potentially even just create a process similar. I mean, right now I would prefer to potentially use another solution, but anyway.
Oh yeah, they got point system. Yeah, I see that little chat bubble in the bottom right hand corner of their screen.
Yep.
Yeah, I figured out how to do that. I got a bot there. I got a bot that does that.
Nice.
What I set up with the chat builder, and so I have a router agent that routes you directly with my Winnie assistant. Um, and it's on all the pages on the website.
So I just asked their bot if they have a white label solution. But if you wanted to show that real quick, Ernest, I'll stop sharing. You could do that.
Ooh. All right. Yeah. So essentially, you can just see it's here at the bottom right hand corner of the page. And it pops up. It has the messages in it from yesterday, but you can see the new message. And you can see it's actually Winnie that's responding right now. But the agent is Elliot. And in the future, it'll do a check to see, essentially understand why you're on the website. Um, and you know, and then it'll choose which assistant to direct you to. So what? And currently, all you can do is really ask Winnie about projects, and then I can tell that Winnie uses uh, different sources depending on the information that it gives me. So this is kind of like default information that's in the assistant. But if I am like, tell me more about AiAgents.Box. So now I'm asking about a specific project. And then she goes and retrieves the links from her files. Yeah, more please. What is their story? And then so basically the story is just the description of the project. And you can see it's basically just, I just use the same text that's over here on the website. It's in a Google Doc. And then I just upload that into Winnie's memory, and then Winnie will, provide these answers. But that's Winnie actually coming from the files in the knowledge base. The next step would be to connect them to Google Docs, which the meeting notes are in Google Docs. All the events upcoming are in Google Docs. And so as soon as Winnie has access to those Google Docs, a user can ask questions about what's going on in the meetings, what's going on in specific meetings within a given time frame or a specific date. Then it'll also, if you want, it can collect your user data, add it to a Google Calendar event as a contact, and then you'll automatically get emailed notified about the event. So after Google Docs integration comes identifying the user who's communicating. And so I can actually ask for your contact information and then basically add it to the little user database that's in the bot. And then it can be accessed by agents. You got a database in this app, you have documents and such, and events in Google, and then your agents. You could go to Questflow AI, and say, schedule me, the next 10 meetings in the event calendar. Here's the image, the title, and the default text for each event. Email all the contacts in this specific group, let them know that these events are now scheduled, and send a follow-up email. And so that would be super fancy, but essentially as soon as a bot is able to read Google Docs, you can start doing workflows like that, because that's what you're
Would it be
ideally
better for
what
us
you're
to start
wanting.
experimenting with Notebook LM?
This has nothing to do with Notebook LM, but yeah, I create podcasts with Notebook LM. So when we got several activities that go on, or we have a guest on the show, then I can take the meeting transcripts, the whatever was talked about in the Zoom call, and I can provide that as a source document to the rewrite it, then provide that as a source document in LM. But they do they got a specifically type of formatted podcast, and I actually found that it's best to usually go back and like edit half the podcast, because usually they'll just make up shit for the second half of the podcast unless you give it a lot of sources.
Yeah.
Because they're so excited about going into this 5-minute deep dive. But it's really good for short videos, because you can get you just bring the audio file into an editor slap some images or video with it, and you got a short reel. It's pretty good. But
Makes
likewise,
sense.
Jellypod is what I used to create the podcast the other day. Um, and with Jellypod, you give it a script, but you can't download it unless you're actually paying for the service. So I can't like bring it into my editor and then turn it into a video. But it has a nice little, hosting platform for your profile and your podcasts.
Was that dinging noise coming from your end, Ernest, or I heard some dinging noise. Did anybody else hear that? And I don't know if that's because it's like 5 o'clock, but I'll always want to be respectful of everyone's time. And on that note, continuing to chip away at moving the needle forward, and it'll be interesting to see where we coalesce around the business plan here for my IRA fund. Really want this to be an iterative document and pretty simple here for phase one, because the simpler that we can make things to onboard the first 100 founding members and then really get feedback from them so that we can build a product. Because while I'm wanting to build a product for ourselves that we can move assets over to, that we feel is largely trapped in existing situations, really want us to build something that we collectively, these 100 founding members, would like to participate in and then amplify as we look to onboard the next 1,000, and then continue to iterate here with Web3 natives while we look to onboard normal non-Web3 natives in our launch phase for phase two. But on that note, anybody want to chime in some final thoughts before we bid adieu? We'll be back here in 4 hours for AiAgents.Box, continuing to move the conversations forward.
Cheers.
See you guys later. Bye.
Till next time, everybody.